Okay, so now about my experience at Citadele Bank. Well, basically, I think that we all here at RBS know that there's like marketing, sales, finance, HR maybe. But you know, in bank, the whole structure of bank is so actually uh, like difficult and sometimes hard to understand what works how. So that was kind of the most biggest challenge for me. And when I went to the interview, I said like, I want marketing or HR. I don't know. I'm not kind of capable or skilled enough right at this point to actually do something more. I was kind of afraid to go to finance industry, which is also kind of one of my interests. So I thought, yeah, HR would be a nice thing to do. Well, and I didn't actually realize that they're like this client service department that is like the biggest part of actually bank industry, where you have private or legal entities services. And then there's resource management, risk management, operational management, and then there are those biggest departments in the bank. There goes so many other departments that are supervised by the board. And the HR department where I had the internship is under board's management. So basically, how did I actually came up with this idea to go to the bank? Well, I thought that well, if I want to go to HR, which you have to figure out beforehand going somewhere, that you have the right motivation to actually do something in this specific field. So basically, find out what you're good at, what you can do. If you cannot do something where you don't feel like fish in the water, then maybe research something. Because in the internship, you learn everything. That's what Monta also said. And then know where you want it. Like if you want to go to a large corporation where there's going to be drawbacks and there's going to be also pros at this point. And also, well, maybe you want to go to a smaller corporation where you're going to have more private relationship with others, and you'll get to know more departments rather than in larger corporations. And know where to look for what you want to do in internship, because I thought that I want to do HR internship. And what I thought that, well, in banks there are the largest HR departments in Latvia. Well, that was my hypothesis. So I think I proved it to myself. And well, basically, you can, if you want to do an HR internship, you can also go to those recruitment service companies, but they will be really not so wide in terms of HR field. Yeah, well, main duties. I kind of thought that it would be appropriate to call it from 0 to 100, because the first day was absolutely a disaster for me. Well, yeah, of course, I went to this HR department. In bank, you have to check in with those cards because you're not allowed to go in any other department. Well, we had upstairs the interview rooms where I went when I got to 90 approximately. But yeah, well, first day was I got to sit at my table and I got thousands of like pile of paper sheets that I had to arrange in alphabetical order. That's like the worst monkey job ever that you can imagine. I did it for 2 days, but I didn't quit. So that's also one of the lessons I learned. You never quit at the first challenges that you might hit you, because it's actually worth it. And also, how did I go to till the 100? I kept on working, because we have in HR in the banks you most probably you will have this record keeping department of personnel. Then you will have the recruitment and the motivation of employees, and etc., etc., all the structure of the company and how they work to motivate those salespeople and so on, and the recruitment of the sales people, where I actually got further on. So yeah, that's about my duties. I took a lot of selfies, but this is from the first interview. I was super excited, super motivated. I was ready to take initiative because, well, my family texted me, so yeah, I didn't know what to do there because, well, you're waiting for the interview. And actually, afterwards, when I got this whole bunch of experience how to actually cope with the interviews, because I was the interviewer, so yeah, then you get to know how to actually, what to do there when you're in the other side of the interview process. And that's from the last day when I was, well, pretty tired, but happy that I went there. So what else? From my internship kind of perspective, I didn't do only HR things. I was kind of I was working in a collaboration with the marketing department, and well, the main challenges that might face you is like routine that's everywhere. And nowadays, I think the biggest problem for us is that we want to do something really meaningful everywhere. At school, we have to do those assignments that have meaning in our lives, and we kind of get used to the things that stand behind the meaning things, like the regime and routine that you will have in every work that you will face. Because as I said, under those cool events are the monkey job that you will do. Because also, this is also in a collaboration with the marketing department. We kind of created this meetup with Kristaps Porziņš. So I had to call like 500, I don't know how many basketball schools there are in Latvia, but I called every single one of them, and I had to kind of sell them this event. So it was kind of also from sales perspective, also experience for me, because, well, you might be impressed, but actually those basketball trainers that I called, they weren't so keen on actually providing their kids with this opportunity to meet Kristaps Porziņš. So that's what I was shocked about. So yep. And well, lessons learned. I'll go quickly through them, but on the left you can see all the cheesy things that you can actually hear prior to going to an internship. But what I actually learned, and what I should have heard before going to an internship, well, first of all, never judge by stereotypes or your prejudice. Because, well, I am a loyal customer of Swedbank, so that was kind of my biggest issue going to a Citadele bank, because I sent my CV to all the banks, to all HR departments, and some of them called me and said, yeah, we can give you an internship in marketing department or something like that, but I didn't want to do it. I was kind of keen on going to HR field. So yeah, so never judge by stereotype, because when you do this work, you have to give all of you in that one specific company, and you have to be loyal, start being loyal to that company. As you can see, I've get used to the red color already. And what else? Always set your expectations low, but your standards have to stay high, because you're gonna have to do the monkey work a lot everywhere. But you have to be ready for it. And when you set high expectations, as I had them, well, you might be kind of less motivated to do those duties and so on. So set your expectations low. That's the biggest lesson I learned. Also, well, to continue, never give up when challenges hit you, that I already said. And find meaning in the little things, because when I did those duties that I had to structure those pile of papers in alphabetical order. they saw that I won't quit, and I communicated that I want to see in that HR duties that they have in everyday life. So they actually let me interview via phone and so on. So then I went to interviews and I get to interview people. So that's how they kind of step by step, but they put on responsibilities to me. So that's how I felt that you have to find meaning in the little things, and you have to know that those things actually matter to, they show what you are capable of to your supervisors. And also always know your limits, because well, you will hear all those things, you will Google them prior to going to internship, but always know that you can say no. And that's what I didn't pay attention to, because I thought, no, I have to show them that I'm so curious. I will show initiative. I will be proactive. But always know your limits, because I kind of exaggerated with that one, because I work with HR, with marketing. If they see that you are capable of doing a lot of things, they will push you forward. They will put you more responsibility. And that's not always what you have to do, really. And well, yeah, of course, what you will get is amazing networking in the internship period, because I couldn't have imagined that HR group director would kind of give this in my birthday. So yeah, networking and of course experience, as Monta already mentioned. And well, what can I say from my experience in the other side of the interviews is that always research. That's the most important thing. However, I think that when you have the sparkle in your eyes, that's how you actually can step out of the crowd, and that's what actually stays in the HR recruiter's mind for the whole day. That's for sure. That's from my experience. And it actually looks common sense, like don't look bored, keep eye contact, dress to impress. But people really don't know that when they come to interviews. And always stay positive, never lie. And I can say for sure, never stress about the stress, because it will be, and those people who interview you, they will know that you are stressing out. And well, it's okay, we're all human beings. And what else? From practical side, well, you can Google Citadele and go and scroll down. There's going to be career side, and well, you won't have any job vacancy there available for internships or whatever, but there's a new kind of field for students and graduates here, and you can just write your CV and motivational letter to them, and they will have interview with you, and they are keen to knowing new people and expanding their kind of network with new young talents. So so yeah, you can just send your CV and motivational letter to this email, and they will contact you. And if you are not appropriate for them, then at least you will have experience in having an interview.
Would you consider working there as a full-time employee, and would you want that?
Yeah, well, I kind of considered that. I also talked to my supervisor. They can't offer full-time job. Well, they only have full-time job, so I couldn't kind of combine with my studies at RBS. But what else? It is good to have internship in HR, because you get to know HR people, and HR people will be those who recruit employees for any other company, because from Citadele, they contact Citadele and they offered me HR specialist place in their company. So that's why it's good to get the HR internship. But no, I didn't get the internship for their own job at the Citadele because I couldn't kind of combine that with full time job.